Our next project in Art 1 class is going to be a cross-contour non-objective design. There's two types of contour drawing that we covered in Art 1 earlier this year. The first is contour line. The second is cross-contour. Contour line drawing defines a form using its outline and some of the interior details, similar to this drawing of a hand, where you see the outline form of it, but also the details of the fingernails and the wrinkles from the knuckles as well. The cross-contour drawing shows that, but it also shows lines that wrap around the fingers and across the palm to depict how three-dimensional that shape is, where the bumps are, where the curves, where it indents, as well as having the details of the fingernails and the outline form. We're going to use cross-contour lines in this drawing. Cross-contour lines describe an object's horizontal or cross contours rather than just the edges. It's basically like taking a grid and wrapping it around the object so that you can see how the lines bend and curve as they go around that form to show the volume. If we were to use straight lines, the object in those places would feel very flat rather than round. Here's an example of a seashell drawn in cross contour, where you can see both the details of the surface of it as well as the outlines. This ink drawing of these Converse sneakers are not actually striped shoes, but what the lines do is it helps depict where the form goes in and out and around so that you can start to feel like they're actually a three-dimensional object in front of us. Our assignment's going to be, over a series of classes, we're going to create a non-objective abstract art piece. The emphasis of this drawing is going to be on cross-contour, line, form, space, and composition. But what does non-objective art mean? Non-objective art is a way to talk about art that is purely abstract or non-representational. It's an artwork that is a painting or drawing or sculpture that doesn't depict something in our actual world. So not a person, a place, or a thing. Usually, instead, the content of the work is about its shapes, the colors, the brush strokes, how big it is, in some cases, how it's made as well. What does that even look like? An objective painting is one that represents something in our natural world. Here's an abstract objective painting. Abstract because this woman in Picasso's Weeping Woman is blue and green and yellow, and that the edges are not realistic and no one has faces that really look like that. It's an abstract painting, but it is of an actual object in our world. In contrast, a non-objective painting by Vasily Kandinsky, here on the right, is one that is simply about lines and shapes and how they are arranged on the page. This is not a picture of a person. It's not a picture of a landscape. It's not a building. It's nothing. It's just a composition of shapes, forms, and color. We're going to work on this drawing for the next 8 classes or so. Today, there'll be an exit ticket. Next class, we'll work on a worksheet that's going to practice our cross-contour drawing skills. Then we'll get into abstract and non-objective art in a more specific and deeper way so we have a better understanding. Then we're going to create several possible compositions for our finished drawing. We're going to choose one and begin the larger drawing composition, and then over a series of classes with check-in each day, we're going to work on completing our drawings. Here's some examples of what students have done in the past. These pen drawings use the white of the paper to create the highlights, so leaving gaps between the pen lines creates highlights and white spaces to help define that space and shadow. You can notice how the lines wrap around these tube forms as they get bigger and smaller. As they're smaller, they feel like they go back into space. The black background between those spaces, those negative space that's filled in black, with a very nicely controlled crosshatch creates this void, a space that sits very far in the distance. It's very helpful, though, that there's that tiny bit of white shine along the outside edge between the tube forms and that negative space to help them stand out. It almost feels as if they shine. It's a different approach to this, where the negative space is stripes and the cross contour forms feel like ribbons that wrap in and out and around them. If you have access to watercolor or marker or something with color, you can do a background that's color as well. You can see here that these forms are just tubes and swirls and shapes that feel dimensional but are not actual things that are part of our world.